Okay, so Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan came out in June of 1982, the summer of 1982, which, my gosh, is probably the best summer season ever for movies. 1984 is pretty close, but um, summer of 1982, we have E.T., we have Poltergeist, we have Rocky 3, we have Officer and a Gentleman, we have On Golden Pond, we have World According to Garp, Blade Runner. We have Blade Runner, even though I'm not a big fan of Blade Runner. That's a huge movie. Blade Runner came out summer of 1982. Victor Victoria came out summer of 1980. It's just an amazing array of movies. So anyway, but Star Trek 2. I went to see Star Trek 2 because of the trailer. I saw Star Trek the motion picture in 1979. And it was okay. I wasn't a big Star Trek fan, but the movie, I like the movie, but it has a reputation of being sort of like boring and long and just very very science fictiony, Star Trek-y, sciencey. Not a lot of humor, not a lot of battles and that sort of thing. But it looks great. I mean, it's like a Jerry Goldsmith music video. It's beautiful. I think it's great. But it got a lot of criticism for being kind of slow and boring, and a lot of like shots of people doing that, and reaction shots. Anyway, so the trailer came out for Star Trek Two, and it was they knew even though it was a Star Trek motion picture was a hit. They just knew they had to ramp it up, so they did. They added, the trailer showed all these battles, and they showed more humor, and that even the uniforms looked better, and it was just anyway. So everybody was really anticipating to see this movie, and there was also, I don't know if the studios let it get out on purpose, probably. But there was a rumor that Spock was going to die at this movie. So, all the Trekkies had to go see this. So anyway, I went with my good friend Chip and his dad, and we went probably the first weekend, and I think it was the beginning of June of 1982. So right at the start, we went. It just sold out. That's back when, and I miss those days where you would go to the theater and you'd wait in line to buy a ticket, and there was no guarantee you were going to get in, and there were lines with other movies, especially that summer. My gosh, you go to a movie theater and it's just full of like kids mostly, but full of just like people just waiting to get into like Rocky and E.T. and Poltergeist and blah blah, and Megaforce. No, not Megaforce. But it just was such a wonderful communal event. It's not here. It's gone. It's gone. But anyway, so we got in, but it was so packed we had to sit. I think it was like third or fourth row from the screen. So we were really close. We were doing this sort of thing. But it was great. We were there. Anyway, I'm not going to give a whole synopsis of the movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's still probably the best Star Trek movie ever. It's just it's just perfect. Everybody is perfect in it. Shatner is perfect in it. I mean, he really is. He's great. The script is well written. It's really a good. It's a great adventure movie, but it has a great theme about aging and getting old, and it's wonderful. It's really wonderful. You laugh, you'll cry. Oh my gosh, you'll cry. So anyway, and I'm gonna spoil this. If you haven't seen it, I guess don't watch the rest of this, but because you should see it. Anyway, so the rumors were true. Spock dies. So when that happens, I mean, all through the movie, people are like, "Yay!" Cheering and laughing because it's very funny. There's some really great comic lines. You just really get into it, and it just really expressive audience, like cheering and clapping and laughing and all that stuff. And then we get to the end where Spock, makes the big sacrifice. Oh my gosh! And you could hear a pin drop during the little sort of funeral scene with him in the little casket, and of course Scotty plays the bagpipes. And there, he's Shatner or Kirk is giving the eulogy. he's a bit human, the human line. It's just like, it was so emotional. And even for my friend Chip and I, who weren't really Trekkies per se, we weren't really, like, he probably watched a show. I didn't watch a show when I was younger because it scared me, it terrified me. I didn't like the monsters. And anyway, um, but it was emotional even for us. But we started noticing that, and this is when we realized that I guess it was like 98% Trekkies in the theater. Everybody started raising their hands at the funeral scene, like when they're playing the bagpipes, and it's sort of lowering down. They're raising their hands up, and they're doing this. They're doing the Spock sign, but they're raising it up like this, which you know what that looks like. And it just I kind of noticed it out of the corner of my eye, and I went, look at that, to Chip. It's like, look at this, and everybody was doing this, like silent, not really saying anything, but just doing that thing. I mean, it was kind of emotional because you could hear people sniffing and crying and that sort of thing. But that doesn't look good. That looks terrible. I mean, even with this, that somebody was early for the next show and like walked in and everybody's doing this. That's the wrong movie. What is this movie? Anyway, but it obviously there was no ill intent or but it was so emotional, and people just cheered and sobbed and cried. And anyway, so that's what I remember most from that movie. That, and I don't know, I went back to see it like 3 times, I think, that summer. But there was I was at the movie theater every weekend, maybe even more than that. That summer, it was just amazing movies. So anyway, Star Trek 2. Oh my goodness! But don't do this. I don't know. I mean, how would you do that? And just stand like this. That doesn't look good either. But anyway, it was a great experience. Every time I see it, I go back to that theater. I've even done this, maybe in the couch once in a while, but not in a bad, not in a bad way. But it's a great movie. Watch it if you haven't seen it. Sorry I spoiled the ending, but come on, if you don't know, it's 40 years. 40 years? It's 41 years. Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right, Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. Don't this the other Star Trek 2? Well, it's not called Star Trek 2. It's the In the Darkness or In the Dark Room I don't know what it's called. Don't mess with that one. Anyway, watch it, and yeah, that's all I got.